cousin, whatever. Like I didn't have a dad, but like there was a stepdad. I had uncles. Like people were around that were like the masculine energy. Although my mama is a little masculine, to be honest. I think she carries a lot of masculine energy. No, she does. Like I've always felt that.
I didn't mean to laugh, but the way you said it was like, my mom's a little masculine.
Yeah.
No, she's a strong woman.
Yeah, she's
in
very
every
strong.
way. Absolutely.
And we're back. Never too shy. We are back. We are back. Everyone looks so like good
Cozy?
today. Cozy
No,
and nice.
Girl,
Full body fits.
I like it.
I had picture day at work today, so that's my reason.
Sick.
No, my hair is greasy as fuck.
I'm just greasy, period. Well, either way, we're back. We are here. And if you haven't seen the new setup yet, welcome to the new setup. Tati's plan is back.
Yes.
So I'm really happy that,
I still don't have a plan.
You don't have a plan. My bar card is missing. It's okay. I
forgot about that.
Bring it here. We're going to make it happen, though. Don't worry. So today, I think we're going to kind of go into our affirmations. But I think today's topic and today's kind of like theme is going to be kind of like get to know the show and like really like get to know each other. So we've come up with questions for each other. And we've also taken Q&A from like our listeners, our platform on Instagram, our followers, to kind of answer questions about ourselves too, because I feel like it's a nice reset, especially, at this time. We're in season 3. I want to make sure anyone new who's listening or watching can kind of like,
Welcome.
vibe with us a little bit, get to know us.
I
know, I see her shaking your
Daddy.
head.
Oh my God, now you could like do all the things and they could see it. You could just twerk if you wanted
everybody
to.
loves my leg thing.
Now you
All
could
my friends
twerk
do
if
it.
you wanted to.
True story.
I love. Okay, so then let's start first with affirmations.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Nobody?
I was like, are we saying?
Who will go
No, I'm like, are we saying our names? Paulina Rowe.
Oh, Paulina Rowe. I don't even know my own damn name.
Talk with Tati.
Wait, Nestor, our Instagram?
Brown bro.
Oh, my Instagram is the
Guys,
Brown Bro.
season 3 and we still can't get this
Yeah.
part
We literally
together.
can't get it together. But we here. We outside.
Yeah.
So who wants to start with the affirmation?
I could start. I don't mind.
go ahead.
Do you want me to
No.
start? Okay. So I just saw the Beyonce movie, y'all. Because I didn't go to the concert. And I'm living.
Because there was a lot of money.
No, I was out of town.
Oh, like
no,
you
I'll
said.
see like
That
certain
was
things.
an arm and a leg.
I'll play.
Are
I'll
they
pay
really?
or get paid to do it. Whatever. Anyway, so I saw the Beyonce movie and she said a line and I was like, that's my affirmation.
it?
So it's quoted from Beyonce. It says, I am worthy of my energy.
Ooh.
And I felt that because not comparing myself to Beyonce, but she's like she just shows how many hats she wears and like she doesn't take excuses. Like she's like on it. And so she said like, I value my energy. I am worthy of my energy because she puts so much energy into everything she does. And I feel like I could relate to that. And sometimes that could be a lot. Like my energy, I could be like in your face a little too much, but I'm worthy of that energy and I value it. Like that's who I am.
I love it. I feel like your energy is like electrifying.
It
Isn't that like a
is.
Grease word?
Oh, from the
Anybody-
movie Grease?
Yeah, for the word.
It's a song.
Electrify.
Yeah, it's electrifying. Yeah.
Look at you.
We're sold.
I like that. Okay. Nestor, what's your affirmation?
So my affirmation actually came from always being compared, and I feel like we also do that. I'm guilty of doing it too. And my brother had posted the other day. He said he said Shakira vintage is better than Selena. You guys know Shakira obviously.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever hear her old music?
Yeah, when she had her dark hair.
When she was like rocker
Yeah.
Shakira. And so I told him like, dude, are you dumb? I'm like, you can't compare the both. Like
They're
one,
different.
they're two genres.
True.
Two, like they're just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then I always find myself comparing myself. And I think I even shared that with you before. And I'm always sharing it. So I'm always doing that, comparing myself. And so I told my brother the other day, I told him actually yesterday we were driving, I told him like this came to my heart like as I was thinking about that is comparison is for objects, not for people. So that's something that that's something like you can compare like if you try a new shampoo or a new hair product. But as far as like comparing people, I don't think you can do that because people are just so different and they're meant to be different. You know what I mean? And so
That's a good one. That is fair. Yeah, I'd be comparing too much, but I'm doing better. We're doing better out here in these streets, I think, with the comparison game. I think my affirmation today, so like my new phase right now, it's not really a phase, but kind of, is like I'm listening to like audiobooks because I really want to read, but I don't have the time or energy. Like if I'm laying in bed at like 9 o'clock with a book, I will knock out so fast. But like I wanna try to get better just because I want to like exercise my brain, right? Like make sure I'm like reading and like, shit like that. But I got the audio or Audible, whatever, because it was like some deal on like Black Friday. We saw that, it was like $5, and I was like, fuck it, let's do $5. So I did, and I got this book that I've been actually wanting to read, and I think something like how like unfuck your mind or unfuck yourself or something like that.
Okay, I've heard that.
Yeah, and I listened to it, and the guy has like a very heavy like Irish accent, so it's kind of funny. I love it though. I'm like, I love it, and like a thick ass accent, and he says something in the book, I think it's a whole chapter, if I'm not mistaken, and he talks about willingness. And I think that's really interesting because, and he says it too, he goes, if you're like soft and like you can't take criticism, like please stop reading because like that's not what this is. Like I'm going to be tough on you. And I think like I kind of needed that. And he says like, he talks about willingness, right? And I think my affirmation is just, I'm going to say the word willingness or unwillingness because he goes like, basically he checks you. He goes like, you are in the position that you're in right now because you're like willing or unwilling. I forgot how he phrased it, but basically saying like, you're okay with where you're at. Otherwise you wouldn't be where you're at. Like, I'm not saying it's good or bad. Maybe you don't want to be in this position anymore, but you're perfectly content with it because you're here. Like it's the way he said it. And I want to like go back and like re-listen to it because it just really clicked to me. And I was like, damn, like you are correct, sir. Or yeah, I guess, yeah. I'm like, this is just really interesting. So I thought it was kind of cool of just like our willingness or unwillingness to do something, you know what I mean? And I just think it's like really interesting. It talks about, and you can use that in any sense, right? So it's like your career, it could be your weight if you want to lose weight, it could be anything, right? Like whatever, relationships, friendships, like he just makes really good points. And I was like, that's kind of interesting. So willingness versus unwillingness.
Yeah.
Look into that.
I love that.
What?
Love that.
Time to put Paulina in the hot seat.
I'm so scared.
We're going to start with Paulina
you guys-
because obviously.
Can you guys
so
explain
scared.
that though so that everyone knows what we're going to be doing?
Yes. So we're doing a Q&A. We're going to get to know the show. I'm going to throw this in here to producer Marco. We would love for you to ask us each a question too. I don't know if you came prepared.
I didn't, but as everyone's doing it, I'll make questions.
Play with us. Play along.
Yeah, play.
Like
So
that.
I think.
Yeah, so we're going to start with Paulina.
Yes, but why?
And we're all, because why not?
Oh my God.
Because why not? Are you unwilling to go
Oh,
first?
shit.
So yeah, we're gonna all
You're so
like
cheesy.
just
I
put
love that.
her on the hot seat first. I know you wanted to ask your question first. You said right.
Oh my God. I'm like so nervous.
Because I know you asked
okay.
really good questions, Tati.
Yeah, she's a good question.
Oh, I
a
got.
teacher.
No,
She
not
always
because I'm a
beats me
teacher. It's
to
because
it.
I'm very inquisitive. Like I think about a lot of stuff, and
Inquisitive?
I
I can't even say that
wonder.
word.
I have a
can't.
lot of wonderings about
Inquisitive.
people
Do
in
you?
general. Yes. So the minute you proposed this, I was like, oh,
How many syllables does that word
ready.
have?
Was it?
Nestor, what the fuck?
Too many syllables.
Okay,
Okay, Nestor.
okay.
So
Go first.
we're doing a get to know the show, and I guess I'm going first.
she is.
Okay, here
So
we
scared.
go.
I'm like nervous.
Done. Okay, but first
my
of all,
God.
like I just want to say this, like
Yeah. You hate my guts.
I don't mean it in a bad way. And
Okay. Yes.
it's just
That's good. Let's preface that.
It's just like a very. I'm just like
Some of these are really deep.
I feel like we've gone a little bit deep, but we haven't gotten too deep, and I want to go deeper with you.
Same.
Oh my God.
No, same.
Not in a sexual
Okay.
way because
Oh my God. Nobody
Nestor,
took
I know
it
you're always
that
I
way.
thinking
thought it
about
just sounded sexual. Deep. Okay,
I'm
here we
scared.
go.
Yes.
Dun. Okay, here we go. Where's your question? It's right here. Okay, do you? It's because it's crazy.
Just ask
Okay,
it.
do you? No, this is not. This is not
not-
funny, Mo.
Okay,
It's not
I'm
funny,
sorry.
Mo. Can we
Okay.
not be-
Okay. We're not gonna laugh.
Okay, do you? Keeping in mind the stuff that you've shared about like your dad's situation.
Yeah.
Do you hate your dad? If so, what's the craziest thing about the whole situation?
That's such an interesting question.
Can you
That
talk
leads
a little
into
bit
mine
before
really
that?
well.
Yeah, of course. No, yeah. You're not just saying it like just to like
No,
random
yeah.
like, do you hate your dad? Like,
Yeah,
no. So like for those who may not know or like new to my story, so like I don't have a relationship with my dad, my biological dad.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by my stepdad when I was 3. He came into my life. So then like he raised me since then, and then he passed away when I was like 20. I think I was like 20 years old. I was like in college. So that's the only dad that I knew. And it's really interesting that you asked that because I feel like today I kind of had like a moment, and I don't think I hate my dad because I think that's not only a strong word, but like I also don't know him to hate him. I think that would be very different if I knew him, and let's just say he was like a not present person, right? Or he was like really wishy-washy or just like a terrible human being. Then I feel like I can say that maybe because like I would know, right? I unfortunately don't know. You know what I mean? And I think being in the unknown, I think for me kind of like puts me in a position where it's like I really can't even answer that because I don't know this person. You know what I mean? For me to hate you, like I gotta know something about you. You know what I mean? But I think based on like probably the fact that he is absent, I think that's also a call that came from like my mom as far as like what she also wanted. And I think at this big age, I think I see that as like she did the right thing because I think of like my situation and what I would do, right? If Javi wasn't like in the picture, right? Or like was a shitty human being or whatever she she knows, you know? Then I feel like maybe that would be it would be different. And I feel like I can't be upset at that choice that she made, you know? Because the people that love you protect you. Yeah. So I think that's kind of where I'm at.
And being along to that question, like, you yourself preparing to be a parent, like, do you find it like how does that
affect how you view parenthood?
Yeah, how does it
how you plan on parenting?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Or like even like you putting yourself in the situation, like would you ever? Obviously, you would never leave your kid, but
no,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like, how does that?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that it is really shitty if a parent can do that to their kid. That's just bottom line how I feel.
Yep.
I think despite your situation, you know, despite whatever's going on, right? I think like there's a whole human being involved that you've created and that's here because of you. And I think that's just my hot take on that. I know people suffer with like, you know, addiction, mental illness. I understand there's all of that. I'm not saying it's my situation with my father, but that's the reality of what could be. So I have like a hard time seeing how a parent can abandon or not be a part of their kid's life. And I think God kind of came around really hard for me this time with my daughter and like with her having like such a great dad. And like she's going to have so much more that I never did. And I am so excited for her. And I just love this for her because I know that she's going to have such an amazing dad figure / dad, you know, her real dad, be a part of her life. And like his family is so great. And I think she's so lucky for that. And I'm really grateful to God for that, you know, because I be hearing some real shitty baby daddy stories.
Yeah.
To be honest too, you know, I'm not like, I think that's really fucked up and sad, you know, like when these men, I say men's, but these men's, you know, like can do these things to like women.
There's also moms that do it.
There are moms that do it too.
Moms who are shitty.
There's shitty moms, shitty dads, everybody. And again, everyone has their own situation, right? And they've got their own demons they're battling, you know, but it's like when there's like a kid involved, like to me, that's just so heartbreaking. Like that's an innocent person, like innocent child, right?
That's
He
right.
doesn't know better.
Yeah.
So that's crazy you asked that because that's literally like kind of where I'm coming from with my question.
Yeah.
So this is interesting.
Twins.
So mine, okay. This may sound worse than it is, but it's like, don't think about it in that way.
Okay.
So, you know, there's a stereotype about women raised without fathers.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you think about what people say about those women and those stereotypes, do you feel like as an adult now, have you followed that stereotype? Like, do you fit into any of those stereotypes?
Can you give an example?
So
of that?
like a lot of people say like daddy issues, right?
Yeah.
They latch on to men for love and affection and the attention of a man. Now, I actually didn't know that about your stepfather. So that may change the narrative a little bit because I didn't even know you had a stepfather and I'm sorry he passed. So I guess you did have a father figure in your life.
Oh, you
but
didn't feel like that, though.
Right, or that. So like oftentimes people think like a woman raised without a father figure is almost helpless, toxic, they latch on. And again, I'm just saying stereotypes, not me, don't come for me, y'all. So I'm just wondering, like, have you ever felt like you fell into that stereotype where you latched on to men for attention or for seeking like love or reassurance, whatever it is?
That is so interesting because I've always felt like I did nothing but like prove the opposite. And for a long time, I was like riding on that for such a long time, like just being like, you know, with like the daddy issues or whatever, like I do believe I don't know. Again, I'm not a pro here. Like, I'm not a therapist, but I do feel like majority of women do have some form of like daddy, mommy issues, men and women. I really do think we all have something. Now,
I'm mama's boy, so
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's something there. I think with like both sexes, I really do. But with like women and stuff, and it's like the daddy issues. Because it's interesting to say that because I see people who are our age too, who have like, and it's different scenarios, like who have the divorced parents, but still have a dad present. Dad is financially, you know, was there when they were little, took them when they were little weekends, like the weekend dad crap. Yeah, but like they admit, like, I got daddy issues. And it's very interesting because I had a completely absent father. So it's like, do I have daddy issues? I never felt like, this is how I feel, but I've never felt like I seeked validation or love from men. Because again, like I had this like image of myself, right? And I kind of like let that go because I'm like, it's not a competition out here. It's not about daddy issues or not. I think we all got issues. Some of them are daddy issues. I really do.
We sure do.
We all as fuck have issues. And I do think some of them stem from like just our upbringing, parenting, right? Mom and dad could be either or. But I always felt like I had to fight so hard to prove to people that I wasn't that stereotype. Because if we're going to be honest and speak less stereotypes as well, like, okay, so if let's just say a girl doesn't have a present father, an absent father, completely absent, doesn't exist.
Right.
Then what are the stereotypes? Like, she might get pregnant early.
Correct.
She might be a single mother herself. She might not finish school, go to college. Like, you know what I mean? And I remember just feeling like I had to fight that so hard for some reason, like subconsciously, maybe consciously. And I just like always felt like, okay, I need to like prove myself and like do well. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to like fall into that. But also my mom never would have even let me fall into that, which is the wildest part. She's fucking something. She just wouldn't even have ever let me do that if I even wanted to. But I always felt like, and this is why I think God like comes through hard, because I just felt like God always gave me like opportunities and just like ways to like do shit. He gave me my mom, which was number one, and she set me up so well, I felt. And then it's like he gave me like so much just like will and ambition and just hustle and stuff that I wanted to do. Because everything I said I wanted to do, I've done. So like for me, I'm like, you know, I'm like, this is what I want to do. So it's like I try to put that out into the universe and tell people like, you know, whether they have an absent parent, right, whether it's mom or dad or whatever, like I don't want that to define them necessarily. And I know it's easier said than done because some people don't even have the foundation I had, right? Where it's like a mother who, yes, she had her own struggles, but she like never let us fall, like me or my sister. You know what I mean? Like we were always priority, and I know everybody has that, so I can't hate, and I don't hate 100%. But like when I look at it, I'm just like, okay, like I don't want to fall into that stereotype ever. So like I'm super like hard on that. Like, yeah, do I have sometimes like attachment issues, especially to like my husband? Yes, like I'll be like, oh, like I don't know, I'm not like needy in that sense, but like I can just see things come out. And what's interesting is today we actually had a little scuffle because I have my triggers, and sometimes I feel like he triggers me with those moments. And today we had that, and I was in the car crying. It's not funny, but I was crying, and I was just like really sad because of what was it? I don't even remember what it was, but basically like what he said. Oh, he said something and I didn't even do that. And I was like, I didn't fix my hair. He was just like, he made a comment like, oh, you fixed your hair, whatever. I was like, no, I didn't. And he's like, yeah, you did. And like my trigger from my stepfather is that he would never believe me. And that was the kind of relationship I had. It wasn't great. So then it would go back to my mom. My mom's questioning me. So my whole upbringing was like this. And I fucking hated it. I still to this day hate this shit, not being believed, because I have no reason to lie. And he wasn't even being like malicious about it. He just made a comment about my hair. And I was like, this looks done to you? Because like, I didn't do shit to it. And he was just like, he's like, I thought you did it. And then I was just like, but like, why would you say that? Like, you don't believe me. And like, I cried in the car for 20 minutes about not being believed. But it's so fucked up because that's like what I was sad about.
That's crazy.
It is. And I was like crying because I was like, and he's like, what the fuck are you crying about? And I'm like, I'm having a daughter, and like, I can't imagine like some man like telling her that and not believing her, and then like no one protecting her, which is what happened to me. I wasn't protected. I had nobody stick up for me. And I struggle with that so hard. And I was like, it's not your fault, as I'm crying. And I was like, it's not your fault. I was like, this is like something I have to work through, because like you're not going to come here and save me. Like I got to work through this myself. I'm going to call my therapist. We're going to go through this again. But it's like the stupid little triggers that honestly, they say you subconsciously like bring into your life. Like you date the men that you see growing up, or that like I guess were around you.
I remember we talked about this like way back when.
My crazy thing is like that's crazy that you would think you have daddy issues, right? But more you have stepdaddy issues, and
Facts.
now it's like, man, it's like you can't.
How many damn issues?
It could seem like you can't catch a break.
Yeah.
But reality, it's good that you just take it head on, you know, and so that's.
Thank you for being so vulnerable. I learned so much about you right now. Like
Yeah,
in all
I did too.
honestly, like wow.
I wanted to cry
This
for
is, no, yeah. This isn't a question for you. This is making me think of something I want to open up really quick to everybody else.
Yeah, please.
Because recently I was told, like, if I had to give you one piece of advice, Tati, is don't date a man who was raised by a single mother.
Ooh, I heard that before.
So I kind of, when we talk about like the stereotypes of
I don't
a
like
girl,
that.
so I want to bring it up. When we talk about the stereotypes of women and girls being raised without a father, what are the stereotypes of men being raised, and not without a father? I want to be specific, father figure, because uncles, grandfathers, cousins can step up and be father figures. But like a man growing up without a father figure, I don't even want to say if you had to choose, but like if you think about the stereotypes associated with women without fathers and men, which one do you feel like society sees as more alarming or concerning? And I know you don't like that. I'm just curious to know, like, based on what we see in society, what do you guys think?
Type of question that I don't even want to answer. I think it's just like to make that statement to you, like, oh, you shouldn't date somebody that grew up without a dad.
Father figure.
Father figure.
Or father figure. Like, I think it's.
Well, none of us think it's right. No.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to answer that question. So you can.
No, I'm only going to answer because I saw this on TikTok. It was a conversation. And I don't know if it was like a therapist or someone that was like talking about it, or I don't know, someone was talking about it. And it was interesting because like it's not the reason you would think. And I don't agree with this by any means. I mean, I talked about how I'm a fatherless kid for like 20 minutes, you know? But if you were talking about the opposite sex, so like for me, it'd be male, right? And grew up with a single mother, they say not to, which is so interesting. It's not what you think it is. But they say not to because that partner, that man, is going to look at you to be the same in the terms of single mom probably struggled a lot, right? Probably worked 2 to 3 jobs. Probably, you know, was trying to like maintain her mental health, couldn't do a great job. I mean, imagine raising like, I don't know, 3, 4 kids by yourself. I'm making this, I don't know how many kids.
Yeah, right.
Point is like, you know, busy household. Imagine trying to maintain that household, work jobs, you know, pay bills, do all this by yourself, you know, who knows where you grew up, right? Depending on the demographic, the area you grew up in, maybe there's gang violence, right? There's a bunch of shit just outside the home that is out of her control. And she, you know, is raising men. Maybe she has daughters too. So they say not to, I don't agree with it, but this is what they say, because then that man would look at you and expect the same. Like that man won't, this is what they say, that man won't be a provider in the sense of like, he's going to expect you
If
like.
my mom did it, and
Thank
my
you.
mom.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's
Yeah.
what I heard. Don't agree with it at all. And if a man ever tells you
Interesting.
that.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, I didn't either until she said that. I was like,
Yeah.
what?
And I was gonna say, like, I think it's good that you brought this up.
Yeah.
But I think it's a dumbass statement that someone told you. Like
100%.
That's the reason why I
I
don't
will
wanna-
say my opinion.
Yeah, let me hear it.
My opinion is
No, just kidding.
We're distinguishing.
my opinion.
Right, what's opinion?
I do feel like male or female, I feel like they need a father figure in their life. It may not be a biological father. It could be an uncle, a cousin, your mom's friend. Like, I do feel like you benefit from a father figure growing up. That's my opinion, my hot take. I'm not saying you should date or not date the person based on that. In my opinion, I personally feel like you should have a mother figure and a father figure. In my opinion.
No, and I get where you're going, and I mean, I grew up with both of my parents, like very loving parents, and so I get what you're saying, but I think if people are showing you love and they're showing you principles that whether it's a father or mother would show you, then why does that depend upon a sex of somebody? You know what I mean? Like,
I was gonna say, like, if I have two dads or something, is that what you're trying to say?
To me, well, I'm saying because at the end, like, if you have two dads and I'm not saying like, I'm not saying that what you're saying is wrong. I'm just saying like it's right, but also this is right. You know what I mean? It's like, as long as these people that you're being raised by are showing you these principles again, then that's all that matters.
I understand. And like when we talk about like same-sex couples, right? Like I grew up around so many. Like my cousin, he and his husband, his partner, they adopted a little girl at a young age and they raised her, and she has her own kid and they're grandparents to the kid.
Oh, wow.
And so she had her dad and her papa, right? However, her aunts and cousins were still like motherly figures in a sense of like just seeing like women in her life, and then her papa and her father. She got the love, she got everything you're saying from two men. She did. But at the end of the day, when she got her period, and when she had to go through certain changes in her body, how to brush her hair a certain way. And I know this from experience because she's talked to me about it at a young age. Right. Prom makeup and that. They couldn't help her as much as a woman could. And I understand any woman can, but there needs to be that kind of love and trust. And that's where I feel like she benefited from a mother figure, even though the love, the respect, the partnership, the strong partnership and family connection was there with her father and her papa. But she needed still that mother figure because they couldn't understand like tampons, this, that, what size, what this, hair, going through like just hormonal things that a teenage young girl will go through. So
I mean,
speaking to the mic, Nestor.
I'm not someone to like. I'm not approving, disapproving of.
No, yeah, we're just sharing like.
But I do. I mean, I do think a little bit different.
Yeah.
But it's
I wonder if it's like the masculine and the feminine, whatever it is, like, because I do believe in like there's a lot of woo-woo talk around that too. You know how I like my witchcraft stuff, like that we all carry it, like as men and women.
Oh, yeah, I
like
remember
we
you said
carry
that.
like the feminine. I can't say that word.
or something.
Yes, the masculine. And like it's like the dark feminine energy and like like the masculine and like all these things, right? I really do believe, like, in my hot take is like I think like men and women need both, in my opinion. So I could see how that could fall into that, right?
Yeah.
It's like the motherly love and the fatherly love, right? Or whatever it might be. Or having that male presence, whether it's like you said, like a cousin, whatever. Like I didn't have a dad, but like there was a stepdad, I had uncles, like people were around that were like the masculine energy. Although my mama is a little masculine, to be honest. I think she carries a lot of masculine energy. No, she does. Like
No,
I've
for
always
sure.
felt
I
that.
didn't mean to
woman.
laugh, but the way you said it was like my mom's a little masculine.
Yeah.
No, she's a
little
strong
bit-
woman.
yeah, she's
in
very
every
strong.
way. Absolutely.
Oh my God, yes.
But what's to say that energy is masculine?
My mom's is?
Like what's
Society.
My
Yeah.
definition. Yeah,
But
my
what's
societal definition.
Society's definition
that
of
being
it.
strong means you're masculine?
Society.
Society.
Unfortunately, society, yeah.
I understand what you're getting at, but
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
society would.
Yeah, we're just speaking like basic like term
Yeah.
of like that's what
Were
it
you
would
gonna
be.
say something, Marco?
No, but I can.
Please.
I thought you were. Yeah.
No, I think, we have this talk all the time, Lucy and I, and my mindset's always, the world sucks. And I know that like
It
sometimes,
does. Yeah.
sometimes Nestor, you like to take people that they have their best intentions and, that everyone is a great person, but the world fucking sucks. So I always tell her like the way that I'm going to raise my boys and the way that I'm going to raise my girls as if the world sucks and how society sees them. Because if I don't do that, then I'm not preparing them for life.
Interesting.
At home, they can be whoever they want to be. That doesn't mean that they necessarily have to hide their sexuality or anything else. But when a man or when a boy steps out into the world, they're expected to be strong providers and men. That's how it is no matter what. When women are out into the world, they're expected to be pretty and nice and everything else. Yeah, I know.
Right. Where?
So for my handset, it's not necessarily demeaning either one, but it's just making sure they know what the society expects them to be. And if they want to change against that and they want to go against society, I'm more than here to like help them, prepare them, and support them in whatever they want to do. And then at home, like, be whoever you want to be. I always tell her that, especially for like boys, because I grew up with this very, very, very extreme, like masculine person, right? But he was raised by a woman like your mom who was super strong as well. And so, you know, there was no emotions. Like in most of our immigrant households, like at least, you know, in mine, emotions didn't exist. I love you. How are you? Things like that was not a thing. It was like, you got up, you did what you got to do, shut the fuck up and get back up and go to work, go to school, do what you got to do. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, showing that emotion is something that I want to do for my kids, but I want to make sure they understand that, you know, if a guy cries in public, right, it's not the greatest thing in the world. He's seen as a lesser man for crying in public sometimes.
But yeah.
And that's the reality. Like, that's just the reality of the world.
I hate it.
And then if a woman is bossy or is strong, she's a bitch, right? She's not a boss. She's not, you know, she is X, Y, and Z. And that also sucks.
Oh yeah. But see, sorry to cut you off,
No,
but like
ahead.
that is what I'm doing opposite with my kid.
Yeah.
Is I know the world's gonna see her if she comes into the office and she's here, like, you know, whatever, telling me what to do, whatever. Like, she's gonna be a bitch, cocky, bossy.
Yeah.
But if she was a man, she would be, you know, this leader,
Confident. Yeah, good.
right? But
Trendsetter.
I because of society, I never stepped up to that plate of wanting to like be the leader, be a boss. I mean, I think I am now at this wonderful age, but I went so many
30.
years like being afraid
Yeah.
because of that. And I'm teaching my daughter the complete opposite. The society will see her as a bitch for being having authority, right? For being assertive. They're gonna they're
do
gonna
it
call
anyway.
But
Yeah.
I'm gonna teach her that that's okay not to be afraid of it. I'm going against that. I have to. I
No,
will
be
not
prepared.
let her
I
do
think
that.
I think I'm being devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I think that's what Marco's saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Marco's like, I'm gonna give you the worst case scenario of what's gonna happen to you
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're this.
I'm not telling her not to be
But
that.
He's just gonna like give you the worst
I'm
case
just telling you,
scenario
like-
so they're prepared for it.
because
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
But I think the way you're wording it has a lot to do. At least what's coming out of you right now is that you can be who you are inside.
Yeah.
Like, just certain words that you're using
Yeah.
are kind of like.
that's more for the I'm sorry to cut you off. That's more for like my boy, because
But either it doesn't matter. Sorry to cut you off, but either way that it goes, you're still kind of like.
Like you could cry
It's kind of
here,
telling
but-
somebody you could be everything you want, but really saying, but you really can't be anything you want. You got to be this.
I gotta be two different people is what I'm getting from that too.
Yeah,
Not
like
necessar-
here you could cry,
Yeah,
Right.
but
exactly.
just
But
know the minute
outside,
you
don't
cry
cry.
outside,
So I'd be confused.
So,
I'd be
yeah.
like, so what can I? Who am I?
it's more in the sense of like, because of, and also unfortunately, the father that my kids have is like, people look at me a certain way, right? Being almost 7 feet tall, being very assertive, being this and that. People are expecting my children to also be kind of like that. I know this because I went through it myself, right? People expected me to be a certain way when I was a kid. So
I got my questions for you. Just wait.
so I can't control those other people's thoughts. I can't control what people think of my kids, of my family, of everything else. I can only control what I tell them and say, hey, listen, this is how life is. It sucks. I apologize, but be prepared for the worst case scenario because everyone's going to treat you X, Y, and Z, or it can treat you this way. And once you're at home, like, this is your safe space, right? Like, this is your space to be who you are. And the reality is, and it sounds like two lives, but you kind of have to put a mask when. Sorry, I just cut myself. You have to put a mask when you go out the door. Like, and it sucks, but that's the truth. Because if you don't, then especially for guys, at least for women, the biggest thing is not empowering women. And this is also why, like, I hated the Barbie movie, because the Barbie movie,
Oh no.
like, showed the fact that all the old dads in the world sucked because they never gave
Yeah, I
their
didn't-
kids
I didn't
confidence or gave their daughters a confidence. But anyway, for my boy, at least, I only have one. It's like knowing what the world expects of you and making sure that you are aware of that. And if you want to go against that, like, just be aware, like, okay, there's no problem. Like, if you want to cry in public, but just be aware that, like, this is what's going to happen if you cry in public because of the experience of what I've been through. And I'll support you either way. But just know that, like, if you want to have a safe space, our home is always a safe space for you.
But also, how does that go with her question? You kind of like, I know I went a lot of places, but
I mean, I think the conversation itself we're having is really great. I get what
so
you're
too.
saying, but I do want to get to your question next.
All right, what's your question?
No, her question was. I mean,
Just my overall was like my question was.
she was saying.
I don't want to say which one is worse, but like
boys
thinking
and
about
girls? Yeah.
thinking about the stereotype of a woman being raised without a father figure or a man without a father figure. What do you think society deems as worse or more concerning?
I think it's, I think society deems the woman raised without a father because it's always like the biggest thing. I personally think, in my experience, the men who are raised with a father figure are worse because they turn out to be, sorry if anyone gets mad, like man-child, where like they're just like big guys who are just like children basically and don't have any sense of responsibility because the single mothers at times, kind of give them everything, don't let them go into the world, don't let them experience anything. Kind of they protect them so much that once they get into it, they turn into like a little bit of like privilege, or they can't operate as like a normal human being sometimes. And it takes at times for like, I've known in my experience, like knowing people who have gone through that, it's like an adjustment period to be like, oh shit, like my mom's not here. Oh shit, I can't get all this like by myself, like automatically, because they've been provided for so much over. But yeah, I think in Paulina's aspect, I know a lot of people who didn't have their biological father, but had a really strong mom.
Yes.
And and that mom is going to do like anything to get ahead.
Yeah.
And typically and this is weird too, but for moms and daughters, there's always like a different complex in moms and sons. Completely different thing sometimes. Because
one could argue that like being with a man without a father figure and like with a strong single mother, they don't know how to put their partner, their wife, assuming it's a woman, right? They don't know how to put another woman when it comes down to it, like ahead of their mom. Because in my opinion, once you're married, like your wife, your partner takes priority. And so I've heard when you're dating a man, and this is from that person, why she told me this. Basically, like when I'm with him, like he struggles to like put me in front of his mother. And it's like, you lay in bed with me. Like you're my man, you're not her man. And that men, obviously they grow up wanting to protect their mother, be providers for their mother. And the mother look at them like they're king, I'm your queen. But it's like, nah, boo-boo, he's grown, he got a new queen in town. And mothers have a hard time letting go. And men, according to her, in her experience, have a hard time letting another woman take that queen spot. That was her reasoning why she told me like I wouldn't date a guy who doesn't have a father figure.
That was actually my question. Went along with that for
Marco.
Okay, so Marco, along with what Tati was saying, who comes first? Your mom, your daughter, or your wife?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I love this
and
question.
this also just something to keep in mind is that I didn't ask who do you love more.
no,
It's
who
who
comes
comes first.
I love
My
your guys'
daughter-
preparation.
my daughter above everyone in this world.
Period.
And then after
That's interesting.
And then number two.
and then in April, my daughter and my son above everyone in this world.
Okay,
Okay,
after your
period.
kids. So
Congratulations, by
after
the
your
way.
kids.
After my kids, it doesn't matter. It's my kids. Whoever else is in line and they're
No,
just
it
fighting.
matters. It matters. Your mom or your wife.
What are you
Who's
talking
next
about?
in line?
That was part of the
That's
question.
the question.
Yeah, I know, but like
you have to answer it.
He doesn't
Who's
want
next in
to.
line?
No,
Your
and
wife
this
or
is
your
like-
mother?
Who comes-
Just answer it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Wait,
answer
who-
that either.
So
Wait,
part of
in
the question
line?
is who comes
Yeah,
first?
it's a line.
Your mom, your daughter,
Now
or
who
your
comes
wife?
second?
So you
Yeah, I know.
hold on.
That's
so
what you
vote-
said.
No, you
But-
said whoever. That's not a
No,
is
you said who
next?
comes first.
Okay,
So you
there's-
want a ranking.
Yeah.
Yes, we want a
Okay.
ranking.
Child, wife, mom, and myself.
There you go.
that's
I
what we're
agree.
asking.
What
Yeah.
you said who comes first.
No, okay, but
Child,
yeah,
wife,
the
mother.
ranking. Yeah, I agree. With
I like that.
I
Yeah.
can see
Tati said
that.
it's a
Okay,
lie.
I was like,
so
what? I'm not scared of
my
anything.
question
Sorry, I thought it
kinda-
was it. Sorry, I
No,
thought
I'm
it
sorry.
was.
Your mom
what's it
scares
called?
me, so.
No, that's
I
how
love
it is.
her though, but she scares me.
I thought it was a given, like as the question was.
Oh no! I thought
Yeah,
you just like
I
because
agree.
we had a discussion about this. Like Lucy and I talk about this all the time. She's
Wait,
like,
really?
Yeah, she's like, would you choose our kid? Absolutely, I choose my
100%.
children over anyone in this world.
Absolutely.
I
agree.
would sacrifice
Yeah.
myself first
Yes.
before I
don't have a
sacrifice
kid, but I agree.
my mom, my wife,
Yeah.
and my kids. And that's how the order is for me for like sacrifice too.
Yeah, I agree.
No, I think you answered correctly.
My
or
brother-
like, what is the right thing?
I told my brother not being a dad or a mom. a dad or a father. I answered that question to this girl who actually posted this question.
Oh, yeah?
She was mad
Really?
Oh, yeah.
at her boo, and my brother said, "Well, let me read my answer real quick, and then you guys can say, and then you can like say what you think because you're a father."
Yeah.
I put not a husband or a dad, but I would think daughter until she's able to fend for herself. That's what I put. But then always your wife or significant other.
Yeah.
It's your because it's your other half. A good mom always teaches that your wife or significant other comes before them.
Agreed.
But also, I like how, and then I told her, I like how you asked the question that you didn't say who do you love more because it's a different type of love.
I love my kids more than anyone
And
else.
shout out though,
Amen. Yeah.
shout out to like really quick, like the parents, like the moms, dads who like support that because I feel like they're sometimes like moms don't.
Yeah.
And like I made a comment to my mom one time because I always put my mom first. Like my
Yeah,
mom's just
same.
number one. She's ranked number one. And I made a comment to her about like it was something like about sitting by her by church or whatever, but my husband's family sits on the other side. It's like their thing. Like they have like their side at church. My mom, for some reason, does this thing where she sneaks in the back and she has her parking spot. She's just if you know my mom, she does her own thing.
It makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's not like a dig. It's just her own thing. And she likes to sit on this side. She sneaks out. It's a whole thing. So then I was like, well, like they sit on this side or whatever. And I was like, but I'll sit with you, mom. It's fine. And she goes, you're married. Your husband comes first. And like I was like. It took me like a couple days to process that, but I was like, I get it. Like a couple business days. I was like, but I get it. Like you're not wrong. Like he does come first now. Like I love my mom and even like, but she's encouraging that, you know, because like some moms don't.
My mom.
But also, it's
mom be like, your husband should want to sit with me.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
he loves you, he loves me.
but Paulina, also it has to be something that naturally comes.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be like because
Forced.
it's
Yeah.
something that it sounds good. It actually should be not it should be, but is it actually what it is?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
For my mom?
For you.
For me to what? Want to sit with
Like
my
what
mom?
you're
comes in
putting
you
first.
natural.
yeah, like
what comes
not
out of you.
because your
Natural.
mom tells you, like naturally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I mean now, like and
Like,
I had to sit with that for a little bit because I really didn't like.
Yeah.
Like you said, like I think daughter comes first, so for sure. Like my baby's gonna come first. Javi, and then my mom. You know what I mean? It's just like the order because
Yeah.
it's like. Yeah, I have my own family now. I chose this person, and this is like what we wanted, and 100%.
All right, Tata,
my
what's
next
up?
My question for you, Marco, is
Yes, ma'am.
So I feel like in the little time I've known you, these whole like 6-7 months, I feel like you are big on like being a provider,
Yeah.
right? So if you took away financial security,
Okay.
what do you provide to your family?
Like that? She went.
Like take away anything with money and that. What do you actually provide
Well,
outside of financial security?
I think that this reminds me of that Chris Rock line where it's like men are the only thing in the universe that are not unconditionally loved. Like us as men, we have to be loved because we have conditions on our love. We have to provide to get love from people. And I think it's true. Like I don't think necessarily like my family or my wife is with me because I provide, but like it's expected of me to provide for my family, and that's the exchange for the love I get from my family. Taking out that providing aspect of it, I don't think I provide them anything really because I'm a few person that I don't do anything besides work. This right now, this hour and a half that we take, this is my only thing I do outside of work and family. Like I don't go out drinking. I don't go out I don't hang out with friends.
Yeah.
I don't do any of that. And that is by my choice. I rather provide for my family to make sure that everyone is okay and sacrifice those external factors. And I get a little bit of selfishness for this 90 minutes of the week.
You wouldn't argue. I respect how honest you were with that answer.
Yeah.
I very much respect that. But trying to give you a little hype, like based off of meeting Lucy, hanging out with Lucy, talking to Lucy, you don't think she would argue that you provide like emotional strength, like emotional support?
or
Absolutely.
guidance.
No, I think so. But I think like,
So like, can't you say you provide emotional support, motivation? Like when she decided to work or not work, like, yes, obviously that decision was easily made because of the financial security.
Yeah.
But the emotional support that you provide with being a father and just mentally, emotionally being there during this time.
see those things for me, like that's not for me to answer. Like I can't answer what I provide to someone because I don't know.
Comment.
I don't know what their mindset is, right?
Okay.
Like last night, Madeline's been sick this whole week. So last night she was waking up every 90 minutes and I was going every 90 minutes. Like I didn't go to bed till 4:30 in the morning last night. And at no point did I feel like I'm providing anything to my wife. At all points, I felt like I was taking care of my daughter. And I think that's a big distinction.
That's so sweet, though.
No,
it
it's
really
real.
is.
Because like I feel like a lot of times men and like new dads, like I'm giving you a break by doing what I'm supposed to do as a parent.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily true. You're being a parent regardless of if your wife is a primary parent. Like if I wasn't here, I would be with my daughter. And so I don't get, it's like the thing of like, you don't get any applause for staying out of jail. Like you don't get any applause for doing basic parenting stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's upon you and it should come out of you naturally.
Correct.
If it doesn't come out of you, then you got a bigger problem.
But don't you think like, I think it's really cool that you just answered it like that, right?
What?
I think the way you answered it was so like good. But my thing is like you're going to have a boy, right?
Yeah.
And so obviously like you're going to tell them you have to provide for them financially. You don't think that the question that Tati just answered is something that you should be able to be ready to kind of tell your son that? Because yes, you already know you're going to tell him that he's supposed to be a provider.
Yeah.
But I feel like you should be able to answer that question, even though it's a given and you answered it like so cool. But I think it's important to be able to verbalize it to your son that you're going to be having. I mean, me not being a parent, but I'm just...
What question?
Just like if you take away the financial
that
part,
one?
what do you provide?
Like I know you're saying, because you're saying I shouldn't, I'm not...
Like you may model these things, but Nestor's saying what's wrong with actually saying like you should provide emotional support, mental support, joy, not just this. But I think if you're doing it, he'll see it.
Yeah, for me, my biggest thing is just like, for my son is making sure that his emotional side is nurtured by his mom. You know, because for me, it took a lot for me to get this emotional side nurtured. And a big person to do that was Lucy. Like before Lucy, I did not have an EQ at all. Like it was just kind of like I was a douchebag asshole who was just very cocky.
Wait, that's past tense?
I know, right? But now she has helped me with my emotional side. And that's why I feel like my son and my daughter are going to have great parents on both sides, because I'm super big on the providing side, but I know that he's going to have a super big parent on the emotional growth side.
Yes, but also as a son, because I am a son. I'm not a dad, but I'm a son. I think that my dad didn't do that enough, and I wish he would have done that more with us. But he modeled what a provider is, because he's been such a provider.
Yeah.
Such a good dad, such a great dad. But I think he could have verbalized things a little bit more, like even how to apologize, like some of these things. And so even to be able to communicate certain things, I think it's so important. And I think a lot of the reason why like men are put down or they come across a certain way or whatever is because like a lot of times dads don't verbalize that, because not that it's something bad, because I think you model things so great. Yeah. But also I also do believe that there's certain things that are very important that as a son you need to hear, you know what I mean? And so
no, I think reassuring that is fine, but I also think that me personally, like the Freudian aspect, my son is going to learn a lot more from his mom, and see how I treat her. Okay. And I think that's a big side of it.
Boom, boom.
Okay, can you guys be nice? Because I'm very...
Listen, if you haven't noticed about my questions, I'm pretty like...
Okay,
straight
I'm gonna cover
to it.
myself and you say
no,
it,
it's not. It's not like that. Again, these are wonderings I have as I'm getting to know you all. These are things I wonder, and this is the episode Ask. Yes. So you identify. You identify as vibe sexual. Okay, and the reason why, from my understanding, you say vibe sexual is because you don't want to be put in a box condition to say you are gay, you are this, you are that. So you go with the vibes. Correct? Okay. So, when was the last time truly you were A, like attracted to a woman, and B, actually considered dating seriously a woman? Because you call yourself vibe sexual, when was the last time you've actually felt that?
Yeah.
I think it's been a while. Has it happened in the last? I think it happened right before, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was attracted to physically, but more like emotionally, I would
Mm-hmm.
say, with a girl. But the thing is that sexually, I was kind of like
Oh, okay.
not stuck, but I think that has a lot to do with, like Paulina says, I have to like do a lot of therapy when it comes to that. But I think I don't want to be blocked in any way. And so I just gotta do more like, I feel like therapy as far as that, because I'm not naturally always attracted physically to a woman. But it was probably like maybe 5-6 years ago. Is that it?
Yeah, that's not that bad.
Wait, did I
wasn't
answer
hard.
your
Yeah, you did. Like, I just wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because you call yourself vibe sexual, one would assume sometimes you like girls, sometimes you like boys.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, when was
But-
the last time you were super into a girl the way lately, from what I've seen,
Yeah.
you're super into guys?
But the other side on that is because physically I'm so naturally more into like guys.
Okay.
But emotionally I'm always like blocked. So it's kind of crazy with me cuz like I'm emotionally blocked with men,
But physically blocked with women.
the river runs like, you know what I mean? But as far as
Yeah.
with women, it's the opposite, or like opposite way, you know? So I think like, you know, I love that you always talk about therapy. I think it's really getting, and I am like, you know, I have my first appointment with my therapist. I've never had a therapist, but yeah, it's on the 29th. But I think, but most importantly, the reason why I say vibe sexual is because I never wanna cap myself in any way, and I think for so long I was capped in every way, and so yeah,
Love it.
Thank you for your answer.
that was kind of scary. I don't know
Don't
why.
be scared.
Why
Her
do I
question
scare you?
was gonna be like scary to you, but I thought it was gonna be scary. But
Producer Marco, do you have a question? Or do you want me
Anybody
to
have a
ask?
question for
Or
Nestor?
You have one.
It seems like we're averaging 2 per person.
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
that
I
works.
guess so.
pretty good.
I guess, Nestor, my question is be like, is there times you feel like you think too well of people? Like you think people have good intentions to a fault? Because in times it feels as though like I'm a pessimist. Maybe because you're an optimist. I feel like everyone fucking sucks. I feel like the world sucks, and so at times I feel like that is to my benefit to be guarded. And I've known that in the past, people like you who feel like everyone puts their best foot forward tend
Right.
to get like hurt a lot. And does that ever feel like that happens to you?
like that, I think so highly of people.
I'm talking to the mic.
Like I think so highly of people.
Yeah, like you think too highly of people and it comes back and bites you in the ass, basically.
Yeah, definitely. I think it happens to me like a lot of times.
Oh no.
And I think it's because I don't want to lose hope in people. You know what I mean? I don't want to lose hope in people, and I know that I feel like maybe my dad didn't prepare me enough for that, and I feel like I was overly sheltered by both my parents, not even my mom, but my dad as well. And so I think I do that a lot, and as I'm getting older, I feel like like a little girl stops pretending to be like a princess always, or like in fairy tales always, is the way that I feel like for me, I have to stop and understand like how things are. Still don't lose hope, that the hope that I want to have in people, but understand that most of the time, like you gotta take people by their actions and not by like everything they say, which
yes.
I happen
Yeah.
to do.
Literally.
Yeah, I just think because
I know
the
he
world
looks-
sucks.
He looks for the best in people, but yeah, I think like I've really transitioned from that to kind of that. Not the whole thing. I'm not really fully in pessimist mode,
Yeah.
but I've had to see the world in different lights. Especially to like being married to a first responder. It's just unfortunate you see so much crap. You know what I mean? And just like the ugly of people and how they harm children and animals and others, and it's just sick. You know, even though we see it every day, like on the news or like on social media and stuff, but it's just like. Sometimes it doesn't even make it to the news, you know, and it's just like so sad. And like, you're right. I'm so naive, and I'm not calling you naive, but like I've been in that place where it's just like,
No, I
everyone's
am naive
great.
sometimes.
No, same honey, same. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, everyone's so great. The world's great, you know, but it's like, people really be moving with some bad intentions, and I'm just like, man.
Yeah.
But got to protect yourself from that. But okay, so Tati, question.
Yeah.
I have a question for you.
I have a question too.
Don't hate me.
No.
Okay. So I know that you're very close with your mom and your dad, right?
Yeah.
And you have wonderful parents. I actually talk about your parents a lot to my husband because he's nervous about being a girl dad, and I always talk about your dad. And I'm like, I don't know how they can meet up or talk one day, but I was like, I'm sure he's got great advice for Tati. No, I mean, for I'm serious. Like,
Start saving.
right? Like, I was like, girl dads rock. Like, I've named your dad, a couple other dads. I've named you. And with that being said, your parents are wonderful. I've met them, and you guys are like a pack. Like, I love the relationship that you have. But do you ever think back at like maybe a certain point in your relationship with your parents, upbringing, maybe even current today, that do you hold, like, I think a lot of us do fairly, and it's not right or wrong, but do you feel like you hold any resentment towards them, or there's something there where you're like, damn, like, I wish we did better in that?
Yeah. Great question. I wouldn't say the word resentment, but there are times that I do think about, like, if they would have given me more of freedom of choice in certain situations,
Ooh, interesting.
how different would my life be? And would I even make the decisions that would ultimately be the same as now if I was given that choice? I think one of the biggest ones was just like after graduating high school or like looking at colleges, like it was never a question of like going somewhere. It was just like always Chicago schools and this. But at the same time, since I was 4 years old, I always said I was going to UIC because I would always go with my grandma, and she graduated there, and she would take me bowling there. And I just grew up on campus seeing it all the time. So I was always little, like, I'm going to graduate from UIC, right? And obviously I went to UIC, and I knew that's what I wanted. However, I also think that, like, besides UIC, my parents were very much like, well, look at other Chicago schools where you could travel from and commute. My parents were never, ever open to, like, you want to look at a school in New York or California? Like, no way. Because, I mean, anybody... And I think a reason why you probably ask, anybody who knows my relationship with my family is we're very tight. Some may say like extremely attached to one another. And I would actually agree with that. I feel like I do have like a very strong attachment to them, more so than other people on average. And I think that also plays a role in being an only child. One of the questions somebody asked me on the Q&A that came in later.
We'll go fast from.
Was just, no, I'm just going to like kind of talk about it here with this question. Was, do you feel like you would be a different person if you weren't an only child? And I absolutely do think I would be different. I do think I would have the same love and same support, but I feel like I wouldn't get frustrated when things don't go my way. Because I'm very much like, that's one of my biggest like red flags. Like, I freak out too much when things don't go my way, and I like make moves and like.
But you think it stems from being an only child?
Yeah.
Oh,
I do. So I wouldn't say resentment, but I would say just like allowing me to make those decisions for myself. Because again, I knew I wanted to go to UIC, but I never had this freedom of choice to see anything else to sway me.
And why did not have that choice? Because
my parents just like protection, nervous, scared. My mom can't imagine life with me on the other side of the country.
You in like Seattle or something. Like, no.
Right. And again, it's not anything that I ever thought, like sat and thought like, wow, I really wish I went to New York. No. But like, I think that, and just in general, like I grew up obviously, like I never did sleepovers. My parents were like, you ain't sleeping over nobody's house. You have your own bed. Like you could go hang out and we gonna pick you up and come back. So like, it wasn't until later in my adult life that I started going on trips with like friends. And like, so I wish I would have done that a little bit earlier, but I think like my parents had me so like sheltered, and like they just were just worried and scared and nervous. And so a lot of those things people do at such a young age, like teenagers going off on trips with friends, I didn't start doing until later in my like adult life.
Yeah.
So I would say I wish I had more freedom to do those things and not feel pressured to like, oh, I feel bad. Let me not do that and make them feel bad and be like, I don't want to go with you on this vacation. I want to go with my friends. So that would be my answer to them, to that question.
I have a question.
Love that. Yes, just question.
But also to that, my dad treated us like old school, like if we were all girls.
Really?
Like, yeah, we couldn't sleep over. But yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a
I know that.
side comment. But okay, so my question for Tati is, do you fear being alone? What if you were to be alone?
I do
You know-
fear being alone.
And what I mean, it's in a relationship. Bro.
Yeah. I do fear being alone, not necessarily just being in a relationship. My biggest fear, number one, is losing my parents, losing my mom. One, love my dad, obviously, but losing my parents. That is my
Sorry,
biggest
Dad.
fear, because realistically speaking, my family is literally my parents, my grandma. You know, I always talk about that, like one hand. That's it. So God forbid something happens to my parents. Like, I don't have brothers and sisters. I know I have friends. I know I have support, but like, I genuinely feel like I will be alone in this world. I don't have a brother. I don't have a sister. So if I didn't have a partner, it's kind of like, damn, like I really don't have anything. So in a sense, yeah, I do fear being alone, because ideally I do want a partner to create a family with and have my own family, like Paulina said, because I know my family's not going to be here forever. My parents are not going to live for as long as time goes. We don't know how life works, but that is a fear of mine, just navigating life alone. And that's outside a relationship. That's just no parents, no partner. That does scare me for sure. But to the other side, I don't want to feel pressured, and we talked about this on that one episode, to pick a partner because of my fear of being alone. It's like, I guess I'm not that scared that I would settle for a partner. I'm not scared enough.
And I think in a sense you're conquering that fear by not doing that, I think.
I mean, I guess I just pray every day.
Send me
That it really is, though, a huge fear of mine. And I honestly think that's my family's biggest fear for me.
Oh, wow.
Like, my grandma says it all the time. Like, my grandma cries. Like, she's
No.
she's like, because your mom's not going to be here. I'm not going to be here. Like, that's part of why my grandma like wants me to have children in this. Because my grandma's like, you're going to be alone in the world. And like, my mom says the same thing. Like, it's scary for them too. And that's why my dad is so like, I want you to find a good man for you, because when I'm not here, I want you to have somebody that like gives you that same like support and love. And
We'll just have a backup plan.
you're funny.
Call that
one of
person
those
the
friends that like, hey, if we're both like 35,
Yeah.
I got a few of those.
I feel like too, though, really quick, just bouncing off of that though, like with the finding a like a man like your dad, I think that's, in my opinion, too, like not applying a lot of pressure, because like I don't think that's like pressure.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, I think maybe like finding a man that's maybe like your dad, let's just say 80%, because you're never gonna find your dad.
No, of course.
You know what I mean?
And to be honest, I don't want my dad, because like my dad's not perfect.
I get what you're saying.
Like, he's a perfect model of the qualities I would want,
Of course.
and I wouldn't want, because
Shout out.
he's not perfect. But as a father, he is amazing. So if I had to pick a man, I would want him to have qualities like my father in the way he loves his daughter.
Oh, I love that.
For sure.
I love that.
Since this was supposed to be an interactive episode, should we do like a fast round with like the questions that were sent, or?
We can, but
And that's how we'll end it.
we
Well,
can.
it's up
if
to
you
you
want.
guys, or we can save it for next time
I actually
too.
would like to do like a listener thing.
Like a part 2
We can.
thing?
I would like
Listener
that.
questions?
I would like that.
Like today, we're
Should we-
digging deep with our own questions.
Deep,
Part
deep
2
inside with the cast or whatever you said.
Yeah, and then part 2, like your questions.
Yeah, like a listener Q&A. So let's also.
Because then maybe we'll get more questions.
Yeah, we'll probably cut this out, but like we can post.
cut this.
We'll post. I know it's a third cut already. We'll post Q&A like on the page too, and everyone just like do your thing again, but just like give it a week and save it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, send me the Q&As you got now. I mean,
Yeah.
I got Nestor's, but yeah.
Yeah, let's do that. That way you can ask and we
I
can
kinda
answer.
already answered the one I just got, so I won't send that one. Just
Yeah, we'll do it again. We'll do like ask us or whatever and on the page.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay.
Okay.
So then perfect. Okay, and we're back. Yes. All right. Well, I love our Q&A with each other. It sounds
Yeah,
sexual. We did get deep inside.
Real Z.
Thank you all for listening, for tuning in. And I'm surprised nobody cried. I saw your eyes tear up a couple times.
Honestly, I thought you were.
Really? I had a second.
Oh, I think you were.
Triggers?
And I-
It
Yeah.
looked like you were. That's why I felt bad, because Mark and I at one point were laughing. This is how you know we're not the empaths.
I know.
Because it was just like, oh, she cried over her hair, but then when you talked about where it came from,
Yeah.
I took a step back and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I was just waiting. It's like I was waiting on you.
I still.
I felt it.
If
I
she
felt it
cries, I'm gonna
coming,
cry.
and then it stopped. I was like, "Please stop." Yeah, I'd be a crybaby ass bitch, but it's okay. But follow us on social at Paulina Rowe
At Talk with Tati.
At the bra, bro.
and at Never Too Shy Pod, and we're actually gonna do a listener Q&A. So we're gonna post it up, and or if you haven't seen it, please make sure to go to our page and submit any questions. You can really do it anytime, but do it ASAP so we can answer them.
We.
Yes, thank you guys.
Bye.